bear with me. I am going through the most right now. I just have so much going on that I'm struggling to find time to record. So I am quickly squeezing this into my day-to-day schedule. I'm sorry if there's noise. There's construction happening outside the window. Anyway, for those of you that don't know, I only started reading this year, so it's been about 6 months. I previously did a review on the first 3 books that I read. I am now going to do a review on the following 3 books that I have read. So yes, in total, I've read 6 books this year, and I think for someone that literally never reads, that is amazing. So I'm officially classing myself as an amateur reader. So I've done 6 books in total in 6 months, some short reads, some longer reads, some novels, some everything, and I just want to give you my quick thoughts. I'm not going to go too in depth. I just want to let you know what my thoughts are on each book, so that if you're curious, you can go ahead and get them and try them out. So I do want to say that for those of you that don't read or don't like to read, if you do want to become a reading girly, just know there's hope. So all you have to do is make sure you find the genre that works for you. So the first book that I read after the previous 3, if you know, in the last video I read Gillian Flynn's Grown Ups, and it was a short read and was really good. So the next book I jumped onto was her Sharp Objects. This is a novel. It is 300 and tell you now, 321 pages. Okay, I am now watching the series, which is on Showmax, for those of you that want to watch the series and not read the book. I am watching it. I must say the series is pretty accurate to the book. The sequencing is just a little bit off, but it does make a lot of sense if you watch the series, if you don't want to watch the or read the book. Anyway, my thoughts on the book. So first of all, I love her writing. I think her writing is amazing. Absolutely enjoy it so much. The only thing is that I found that because this book had, in the beginning of the book, there are so many flashbacks to things that happened in the past that relate to what is about to happen, that it kind of got confusing at some points, and kind of got a little bit boring. So I did struggle to get through this book, because it was kind of like, okay, but what's the hype? Like, are we getting to anything yet? And it's a lot of like, this happened in the past and flashbacks, and she remembers this and she remembers that, and da 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 da. But once I got to about the 3rd quarter of the book, I would say, yeah, I'd say about the 3rd quarter, it started to get really juicy, and then everything starts to make sense, and it gets really crazy. So if you're definitely into like thriller, mystery, what would you call it, like detective type book, this one is definitely the one for you. I do recommend it. I think her writing is amazing. I do still want to read her Dark Places and Gone Girl. However, I have seen Gone Girl, but I want to try and read the book and see if it's just as good as the movie. But yeah, Gillian Flynn, loved this, and I'm really enjoying the series, so definitely recommend. It's on Showmax for those of you. It's called Sharp Objects for those of you that don't want to read the book. But if you like this type of thing, check it out. And just, if you do start reading it, don't give up. It gets really good towards the end. So that's my thoughts on Sharp Objects. After Sharp Objects, I went to a short read, and I actually decided to read a book that was written by my mother-in-law. So for those of you that don't know, my mother-in-law is also an author. She has multiple books out, including children's books, and I think 3 of her own books. I read her 2nd book now, which is this one. It's called It Happened to Me by Myrna Roach. So this is what the book looks like. You can get this book on Takealot and Amazon, so same as the next one I'm going to show you. So if you're interested, I'll have the links down below. You can purchase the book. All right, now let's talk about this one. It is a short read. It is, how many pages? 85 pages. I have never cried when reading a book. This book had me weeping. And I don't know if it is just because I know her, but I think anybody that had to read this book, whether you know her or don't know her, oh, it was really hectic. So basically she talks about the trauma of when she was sexually assaulted in high school. Okay, it starts off with like a brief history of like her moving around and her family getting settled and all of that. It goes into the traumatic event, and then it also talks about how she dealt with it and what procedures and what came from, you know, the whole event. Honestly, the most emotional book I think I've ever read. It was flippin' brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It evoked so much emotion in me, and anyone, like, you'd have to have a strong heart to read this, because if you're triggered by sexual assault, I wouldn't suggest it. But this was such an eye-opening book, and it was just brilliantly written, and sad and amazing and crazy, and it just evoked so much emotion out of me. So if you are curious, you can purchase this book. It Happened to Me by Myrna Roach. That's what it looks like. Definitely read it. Also, all the artwork is done by my husband, just so that you know. But yeah, this book was fantastic. I read it in an hour, finished, because I could not put it down. Yeah, amazing. So then the next book I read, another book by my mother-in-law, and as you can see, Myrna Roach, and this is It Happened to Me in Apartheid Times. This is the third book she wrote, I believe, and also available on Takealot and Amazon if you are looking for it. Now, this is a much thicker book. It took me a little longer to get through. It is, how many pages? Let's see. 209 pages. This book was very interesting to me. Now, here's the thing. I am not a big fan of fiction books, things like real life facts, things that happen, history, stuff like that. I am definitely more into like non-fiction, fantasy type books, thrillers, horrors, that type of stuff. However, this book was really good. So basically in this book, also all the artwork was done by my husband, but in this book she talks about things that happened to her in apartheid from a colored girl's perspective. So if you're a colored girl, read this book. Read it. It is very eye-opening. Now here's why I found it so eye-opening. I am a colored girl. I, however, only got in touch with my roots of my colored side further on in my adult life, I would say. I mean, I stayed overseas in England, and then I came back, I stayed in Middleburg. Only when I started reconnecting with my family and getting to know like my cultures and my traditions and things like that did I really get in touch with it. But I had no idea, as someone that was born like literally as apartheid ended, I had no idea what girls went through during the apartheid times. And for those of you that don't know about apartheid, it's when South Africa was in its worst state, when white people and colored people or mixed people or black people or all of the others besides white were not allowed to mix. So even the coloreds and the blacks and everything had different schools, different places to walk, different buses, different hospitals, different everything, because the white people were in leadership and chose to dominate against people of color. This book is all about what my mother-in-law specifically went through during apartheid times, moving around in the different areas, what situations she got put into because of her race. Very interesting. I enjoyed this book, especially because I felt like it taught me a lot about my culture, but I also felt like it made me curious to know what were the perspectives of the other races as well. Like, I wish I could read a book from a Black woman's perspective, from an Asian woman's perspective, from an Indian woman's perspective, and even from a white woman's perspective. What was it like for them? You know, because it was so interesting to hear, and sad and heartbreaking and enlightening to hear what a colored woman went through during apartheid. So very interesting, very, very interesting. Some of the stories in here were absolutely insane. Like, you wouldn't even believe it. It was so crazy, and it's so crazy to think that there was a time like that in South Africa and how different things are now to back then. So yeah, definitely recommend. I enjoyed both of these books, and I'm not just saying that because she's my mother-in-law. I really, really enjoyed both of them. So you can definitely get both of these books on Amazon and Takealot. I'll have them linked down below if you're interested. And if you enjoy the thriller, detective type thriller, Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, really good book. I would not recommend this as a starting book because it is a bit slow, but if you are a experienced reader and you like this type of thing, I definitely think you'd enjoy it. So yeah, so that is my quick book review because I didn't want to make it too long. Again, another 3 books this year, so 6 books in total. I'm so proud of myself. I can't believe I'm a reading girl. Yeah, so it's quite funny to me because it's something that seems so normal, but it's such a big deal to me. I'm very proud of myself for getting through these books. Currently, I started the one of Stephen King's Cell that I got for my birthday, if you know that. So I just started it, but I've got so much going on right now with family and events and things happening that I am not gonna have time to read it for a while, but I hope to jump into it and deep dive into it really soon. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Definitely, if you're not a reader, just try and find something that you like, and you never know, you never know. I love the world that it transports me to. So that's it for today's video. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.